Hey guys, Jonathan was here for JM Sports 100, the JM Sports Show. How is it going? I am here to make NFL picks for Week 1 in the 2016 NFL season, as we are set to take a look at the games for Sunday. I'm going to do this a little bit different, as I have differently than I have in years past. In years past, I've done each little game individually, individual videos for each game. I'm just going to do one big video for each game. You'll see how this is going to work. It's just going to be so much easier and going to take a lot less upload time. So that'll be good. And but we did, of course, have one game yesterday. Took a loss there, so we are 0-1 on the week. But before we talk about the game last night a little bit, I do want to say that we are coming off of a season last season that saw us go 115, 78, and 0. We are 0-1 to start out the year, obviously, as I just mentioned, and we are 884, 523, and 3 is the lifetime record. So we did have the win yesterday coming from, we did have uh, Carolina getting the win yesterday and exacting some revenge over Super Bowl 50. That did not happen. Denver did get the win. In fact, I was totally wrong about that game. I said that I didn't think that game would be close. I didn't think Trevor Siemian would be able to click enough with his team. Trevor Siemian definitely is not the Broncos' biggest concern after that game, that's for sure. And Carolina had a chance to win that game, missed a field goal late, so Denver gets the 21-20 win. Just skips by there. Of course, a lot of thoughts and a lot of controversy there about the hits on Cam Newton. Were they legal? Were they not legal? Did the NFL do the right thing? Did Cam Newton kind of slide his way through concussion protocol? It'd be interesting to see how all that stuff plays out and how the NFL handles that. But so that gave us our first loss in the first pick of the year. First game we're going to take a look at here is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. That game will take place at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. Of course, first of all, when it comes to the Falcons, I think it's safe to say that this is kind of a year for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan really needs to do. He's in his ninth year in the league, which is hard to believe. It's been 9 years already. But he really needs to. Nobody knows what Matt Ryan is. Matt Ryan has this talent that could put him as an upper tier quarterback, and we just haven't really seen that. Last year, he had one of the worst years of his career with the Falcons, going 8-8, and this needs to be a big year for Matt Ryan. I really think he needs to stand out because I think this year is really going to define what he is. Like a lot of people have already kind of have defined what they think he is, and that is not a top tier quarterback, which is a little bit surprising. I think a lot of people thought that he was going to be more of a top tier guy when he came into the league, and it just hasn't happened at this point. Meanwhile, you look over at Tampa Bay, and it's Jameis Winston. He's in his second year as they promoted the offensive coordinator from last year, Dirk Cutter, as the new head coach. Lovie Smith out, of course, is now the head coach in Illinois, their college football program. So this is year 2 for Jameis Winston, and I tell you, and I've admitted this several times. I didn't think Winston was going to be a great. I shouldn't even say great now. I didn't think Winston was going to make it as an NFL quarterback. Last year at times his footwork was a little sloppy, which it was kind of known it was going to be. He actually did pretty well, and I'm really excited to see how he does in year 2. I do think this is going to be an interesting year for him. He gets to work with Dirk Cutter again. They worked great together last year, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Meanwhile, and Tampa Bay really went out and by the way, I'm just gonna make one more comment on Atlanta. Julio Jones is expected to play, but is not healthy, so that could be a big weapon missing for Matty Ice as well. But back to Tampa Bay and what Tampa Bay, what they did in the offseason. They really went out and they bolstered that defense quite a bit. So, not only on that defense now, do you have Gerald McCoy, who had 8.5 sacks last year. You've got Brent Grimes. They went and got Robert Ayers. who was with the Giants last year, this defense could be super strong. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. Plus, if you look at what Jameis Winston has to work with, provided they can stay healthy, he's got Doug Martin in the backfield, he's got Vincent Jackson, and he's got as well Mike Evans. Now, injuries kind of played a role in the receiving situation last year for Tampa. So if they can stay healthy, it'll be bigger. It'll be better for them. Now, I'm not saying this Buccaneers team is going to set the world on fire, but I expect Carolina, who Carolina more than likely is probably going to win the South Division, but I do expect Carolina to really fall off. You know, a decent amount from what they were last year. Obviously, there's no way they're going 15-1 unless they're going to roll off 15 straight wins starting next week, which I don't think is going to happen. I do think that this is going to be an interesting game, but I am maybe a little bit too high on Tampa Bay to start off the season. But I do think that the Buccaneers are going to get the win against the Falcons on Sunday, and I think the Dirk Cutter era is going to start out well in Tampa Bay. And next up, we are going to take a look at the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. That game will also be at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. And this game right here has a couple of interesting components to it. And one of them is Joe Flacco and Flacco's knee. If you remember, Flacco got hurt late in the year last year, had an ACL injury, and so is he going to come back healthy? He's looked really good in training camp. He appears to be healthy and good to go. So this Ravens team, I think, is going to be good. Also, Brashad Perriman, who was their first round pick, their first round pick a season ago. He missed it all last year with a knee injury. He will be back, so that'll be a good weapon to have. But a couple of things that could be interesting. The Ravens, it's not their whole line that's young, but the Ravens do have a couple of young members on the offensive line. So it'll be interesting to see how the Bills' defense puts pressure on them. However, it's weird, really, when you think about it, because when you think about a Rex Ryan team, of course, Rex Ryan, the coach of the Bills, when you think about a Rex Ryan team, or when you think about Rex Ryan, you think defense, which is an area where the Bills really, really struggled last year. They need to pick that up, especially if they have an opportunity to kind of pick on this Baltimore Ravens offensive line a little bit and try to get to Flacco and try to pressure him. They had the fewest sacks in the league, the second fewest sacks in the league last year with 21. And from all that I've read, and I'm not gonna say I know this because I didn't see much Bills preseason football. But apparently the pass rush, from what I heard, wasn't that good in the preseason either. So that's something that really needs to pick up. Now, Buffalo kind of knows some stuff about Baltimore, and you've got Rex Ryan, of course, who spent time in Baltimore as a coordinator. Ed Reed now works under Rex Ryan with Buffalo. Of course, Reed was a safety and for quite a while in that Baltimore organization. But really, if we're going off of quarterbacks, which a lot of times is what you do when you think about who you're going to pick, who would you rather have as a quarterback, Tyrod Taylor or Joe Flacco? Obviously, you guys know it from last year. I'm pretty high on Tyrod Taylor. I think he's good. I don't think he's great, but I think he's good. However, in this situation, I would take Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is definitely the better quarterback. By the way, Tyrod Taylor also played in Baltimore, spent some time behind Flacco, and was even on the 2013 Super Bowl team with the Ravens. Of course, the Ravens lost that Super Bowl to the 49ers, but, so he kind of learned behind Flacco a little bit, even though when you think Tyrod Taylor, you definitely don't think Joe Flacco. Taylor, obviously, a little more, little better with his feet, but ultimately, I do have Baltimore winning this game. I think this is a really, to me, Rex Ryan's seat is incredibly hot this year. I know he hasn't been in Buffalo long, but even the defense, which is something that Rex Ryan is supposed to be good at, even the defense hasn't been good. This is a big year for Rex Ryan. I don't think it gets off to a good start. I've got Baltimore getting the victory. And next up, we are going to take a look at the matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets. That game will also take place at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. And first of all, let's look at this Bengals team. And this Bengals team is coming off of a season last year that they went 12-4, but came off of major disappointment, if you guys remember, as they had that complete collapse against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs with the fumble by Jeremy Hill and the idiotic, I guess there's really no other way to say it, idiotic penalties by Vontez Burfict and Adam Jones. And so Cincinnati looks to avenge that, and it always amazes me every year. I get it, but I don't. And that is the fact that Marvin Lewis is still the head coach in Cincinnati. Yes, Cincinnati is good every year. However, the big games have not been great to the Bengals. They're not great in primetime games. They're 0-7 under Marvin Lewis in the playoffs. And I don't know if he's on the hot seat this year, but Cincinnati needs to really do something big with Andy Dalton. Meanwhile, you've got this Jets team. The Jets missed the playoffs last year. They've missed the playoffs for 5 straight years now. They went 10-6 last year under new head coach Todd Bowles. I do look for them to have another good year. Of course, the quarterback controversy that they had most of the offseason with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick finally got paid like he wanted to get. This Jets defense is pretty good. The last time these two teams met was 2013. It was not pretty, but obviously, with that being 3 years ago, there are things that are a lot different. I think Andy Dalton's gonna have a pretty good year. He broke his thumb last year, kind of halted things for him, and I do think that this is going to be a really good football game. I'm trying to rush through these a little bit because this is taking a little longer than what I would like it to. The bigger games I will talk more about, but so I do expect this. Man, I can't talk right now. I'm going to go with the Bengals to get the win in this game, but I do expect this game to be really good. I do expect the Jets to be very competitive all year, and I expect the Jets to potentially make a run at a wild card spot this year. I still don't think they're beating the Patriots in their division. Meanwhile, the Bengals definitely could win the AFC North. That division with Baltimore and Pittsburgh is wide open, and Cleveland too, but we're going to talk about Cleveland in just a minute. And so once again, like I said, I've got the Bengals beating the Jets. The next game we are going to look at is the matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. That game is on CBS, and who would have thought that this game between the Eagles and the Browns would have so much intrigue? Now, I don't mean intrigue like you're going to necessarily run to your TV to see it, but there's a lot of interesting stuff that goes with this game. First of all, new coaching eras in both places. Doug Peterson with the Eagles, and also with the Browns, Hugh Jackson. Also, new quarterbacks there. RG3 for them. Carson Wentz is going to be starting for the Eagles. Now, the Browns, remember, passed on Wentz in the draft. They were slated to pick number 2. They could have taken Jared Goff, or Wentz. They didn't take either. They traded the pick to Philadelphia. Philadelphia went and took Carson Wentz, and it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this goes, because this is really a tough game to call and to pick, because this is, everybody kept saying RG3 needs the resurrection, RG3 needs the resurrection. Well, here it is. Meanwhile, you've got the Eagles. The Eagles showed that this is Carson Wentz's job. This is Carson Wentz's team when they traded Sam Bradford to the Minnesota Vikings. So, it's all up to Carson Wentz now. And this game may not be the most intriguing, like I said, like you need to run to your TV and watch it like it's going to be a classic, but it'll be interesting to see how Wentz plays against this Cleveland Browns team. There isn't really a ton to say about this game, even with all the intrigue that may come with it. I'm interested to see if Hugh Jackson can turn RG3 around, but I'm also really interested to see as well what Carson Wentz can do. I think Wentz is going to be a decent NFL quarterback. I am looking forward to seeing how he plays. Both of these teams kind of did some selling in the offseason, especially Cleveland. Cleveland also, of course, lost Alex Mack. So that's a big loss for them. Paul Kruger is gone for that team. There's a lot of changes going on here. Now, this could be some ugly football, like I said. I don't know. Here's the thing about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not out of the NFC East battle because we don't know what's going to happen with the Giants, because they can be a little bit here and there with Eli Manning. We don't know what's going to happen with the Redskins. The Cowboys, how are they going to look with Dak Prescott and not Tony Romo for the first part of the year? So the Eagles, if they could win some games, they could be right here in the thick of things. Cleveland, I'm sorry, Cleveland. There's nothing else to say other than the fact that you are just Cleveland. I expect another 4-12, 3-13 year. Your management is terrible. I hope things go well for RG3. Okay, I liked him coming out of college at Baylor. Things didn't work out well in Washington, but the thing about RG3 is, can he stay healthy? I saw a little bit of one preseason game. Actually, I take that back. I saw two preseason games of Cleveland's, one in full, then I watched a little bit of their game, I believe against Tampa as well. And RG3 is getting hit constantly. That offensive line for Cleveland does not look good. I don't think it's going to be good for RG3. I don't think that any way RG3 can survive a 16-game schedule in this league, especially in Cleveland, especially in a division with teams like Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and their defenses. So I don't expect it to be a pretty year for Cleveland. I think Carson Wentz things are going to go. I think things are going to go well for Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson, and the Eagles. I do have them getting the victory. Next up, we're going to take a look at the game between the Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. That game will take place at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. And, of course, there's a lot going on here, and let's start off with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers coming off of his worst year of his career statistically last year, which really, even that being said, still wasn't terrible. The Packers still made the postseason for their 7th consecutive year. So can he bounce back? Also, Jordy Nelson, what is he going to look like? Can Jordy Nelson be healthy? Of course, he tore his ACL in the preseason last year, missed all of last season. I do think he will be good to go. Packer fans have yet to really see what he looks like other than some practice stuff, but I do think he will be good to go. And also, they released Josh Sitton, which I can tell you, in fact, I'll be completely honest with you, I'm from Wisconsin, a lot of you guys know that, and there is a lot of confusion and surprise here in Wisconsin that Josh Sitton was released by the Packers, but nonetheless, he was. The Packers, I think, are going to have a team that is going to be able to contend. Once again, it's going to need a playoff spot. The offense is going to be interesting to watch the first couple weeks, but I think they'll be alright. Aaron Rodgers did not play much in the preseason. Jordy Nelson didn't play at all. And so there's a lot of questions I think that are going to be answered very, very quickly. Meanwhile, you look over at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Gus Bradley, this is a big year for him. The Jaguars have had a tough stretch. They haven't made the playoffs since 2007. I'm not sure that changes this year, but it very well could, okay? This AFC South division is wide open. Really, with Houston, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, and then of course with Jacksonville, this division is wide open because who knows what we're going to get out of Andrew Luck and the Colts. Of course, he's everyone's favorite to win the South, but who really knows if he's going to stay healthy or not? So this division is wide open. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, in fact, I looked this up because I knew that they had a big season as far as signings and free agencies and stuff. So I just wanted to look this up and just listen to the way some of this defense is. They've got Malik Jackson, Tashawn Gibson, Prince Amukamara. They spent $220 million in free agency. Also, their 2015 first-round pick, Dante Fowler, missed his whole rookie season. He'll be back. Plus, they've got Miles Jack. They've got Jalen Ramsey. This Jaguars defense is good. Blake Bortles is not a bad quarterback. This Jaguars defense has a team. They have talent. And you look at it and you wonder, okay, you have talent. Why isn't it showing up? Why aren't you winning games? I think the Jaguars need to win this year, or I think Gus Bradley is out as head coach in Jacksonville. They had a tough draw there, drawing the NFC North. Of course, playing them, it wasn't really a draw because it was just, the way it works out. It was their year to play the North. But unfortunately for them, the potent offense of the Green Bay Packers are going to be their first test this season. I do think the game is going to be closer than some people want to think it's going to be, but I do have the Packers getting the win, although I am really interested to get a look at the new revamped Jaguars defense.